We are afraid of being right.
В 15:00 мы начинаем. Пожалуйста, напишите, что слышно, видно, чтобы понимать, что мы можем начинать. Очень жду ваших плюсиков, вашей обратной связи. Отлично. Ну что же, мы очень рады приветствовать всех участников. Это финал школьного конкурса Bookworms для школьников 6-9 классов. И сегодня у нас здесь собрались лучшие из лучших, поскольку вы знаете, что конкурс проходил в 2 этапа. И в первом этапе участвовало у нас около 20 участников из разных регионов России. Это были и команды, и индивидуальные участники, и даже представители других стран. И сегодня нам предстоит пройти финальный отборочный этап, после которого мы определим победителей. И давайте немножко расскажу, как будет проходить наше с вами мероприятие. Во-первых, хотела бы представить вам жюри. Это Юлия Малинова, это сотрудник образовательной компании «Ежегод», старший методист, эксперт ЕГЭ, человек с большим стажем, преподаватель. Она будет сегодня задавать вам вопросы и оценивать ваши работы. Со стороны нашего партнера, поскольку этот конкурс проходит у нас совместно с библиотекой иностранной литературы, выступает Мария Пономаренко, главный библиограф Центра детской книги и детских программ Всероссийской государственной библиотеки иностранной литературы имени Родомино. Она также будет задавать вопросы, оценивать работы и в дальнейшем тоже ставить баллы победителям. Итак, наша программа. Мероприятие рассчитано на 2 часа. Я надеюсь, что все подготовили свои презентации и тексты. Сначала у нас выступают команды. Каждой команде отводится 10 минут, 5 минут на выступление вместе с презентацией и 5 минут на вопросы и ответы. Здесь вы можете видеть план, также он есть лично у каждого участника, кто у нас за кем выступает. Это первая часть. Вторая часть — это у нас индивидуальные участники, их у нас больше, и также география очень широкая. Вы можете видеть, что у нас есть представители из Республики Казахстан, Самара, Москва, Ижевск, Санкт-Петербург и Калининград. Это очень замечательно, нас очень радует такая широкая география данного конкурса. Мы очень этому рады. Хочу напомнить, какие же у нас есть критерии и баллы. Это четкое и логичное представление информации, грамматическая правильность построения предложений, беглость речи и произношения, использование элементов драматизации. Несмотря на то, что наши мероприятия проходят в онлайн-формате, возможно, вы проявили какую-то фантазию, подготовили что-то такое интересное, это также приветствуется. Соответствие временным рамкам. Я буду ставить таймер для того, чтобы мы все уложились и чтобы не было задержек. Это 5 минут и 5 минут на ответы и вопросы. Обсуждение прочитанной книги с членами жюри конкурса. Умение отвечать на вопросы, формулировать и аргументировать свою точку зрения. Также у каждой команды есть некое количество баллов за первый отборочный тур, и в итоге эти баллы суммируются, и мы выведем среднее арифметическое, сложим баллы, и завтра мы вывесим результаты на нашем сайте, в соцсетях, и обязательно вас проинформируем. Итак, дорогие участники, мы желаем вам всем победы и успехов. Надеемся, что все готовы у нас к выступлению. И сейчас я озвучу первую команду, которая уже наверняка готова выступить. Это общеобразовательная автономная некоммерческая организация «Планета успеха», город Москва. Руководитель Крылова Мария Дмитриевна и участники команды Усольцева Виктория и Лизун София. Сейчас я остановлю демонстрацию экрана и передам слово нашим участникам.
Здравствуйте. К сожалению, сегодня Вики не будет, она приболела.
Хорошо, тогда, значит, мы будем рады послушать одного представителя. Минутку. Все, готовы?
Сейчас почти. Hello, I'm Sophia. For me, life is a dance. I cannot imagine myself without it. I hope to continue to dance in future. I like fantasy stories and some adventure stories. My favorite book is Harry Potter by John Rowling. I'd like to tell you about Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. His real name was Charles Ludwig Dodgson. He taught mathematics and logic at Christ Church College. He was a teacher. He was an extremely serious man with some oddities. It was difficult for him to communicate with adults, but he easily found a common language with children. The idea of creating a book came up a long time ago during a boat trip on the River Thames. He took a 10-year-old Alice, as well as her sisters Flavina and Edith, on a boat trip. Here is the photos of Charles Ludwig Dodgson and the Littles. Carroll worked on Alice in Wonderland for a long time and rewrote it several times. The original version was completed on February 10th, 1863, but Carroll didn't give it to Alice. In 1864, Carroll wrote another version and destroyed the first. Here is the illustrations by John Tenniel for his book. And here's the last page of Lewis Carroll's manuscript that he gave to Alice. Here's the fact about his pen name. He used to translate his name, Charles Ludwig, into Latin, so it turned into Carlos Ludovicus. Dodgson chose other English names for the same names, and he decided to change the order Lewis Carroll. Here is the main characters of Alice in Wonderland. My favorite is the Cheshire Cat. Alice is the main character of Lewis Carroll's novel, Alice in Wonderland. Alice is a little girl, a real dreamer with rich fantasy, inquisitive, kind, and well-mannered. The main feature in her character is curiosity, and that is the reason why she finds herself in a wonderful world full of illusions, fairy tale characters, and mysterious things. Reading the book, you immerse yourself in the magical, unfamiliar world, together with Alice, hand in hand, confronted with challenges that stand in her way. Alice teaches us plenty of important lessons, and one of the most ones is that a person should have a goal. We can't imagine our being without goals, desires, and dreams. We believe that this is similar to an infinite journey during which we decide which path to take. It is very important not to be afraid of your desires, regardless of what is happening around, and keep moving toward your goal. During her trip, Alice faced lots of challenges. In our opinion, the heroine of the book teaches us not to give up and keep moving forward against the odds. There will always be obstacles and challenges, and it's vital not to lose yourself so you can continue your journey to success. Alice also demonstrates us that you shouldn't feel hesitant because of your own fears. All you need is to believe in yourself and fly with your heart. To conclude, we'd like to quote Louisa May Alcott, the American novelist, who once said, "We all have our own life to pursue, our own kind of dream to be waving, and we all have the power to make wishes come true, as long as we keep believing." That's all.
Большое спасибо, София. Замечательная презентация. И Мария из Всероссийской государственной библиотеки, она подготовила несколько вопросов. Мария, попрошу вас как представителей жюри включиться.
Можно убрать презентацию, чтобы видеть Лизу, пожалуйста. Thank you, Lisa, for your choice. It is a really extremely popular and great book. Did you really like it? Did you really enjoy reading it?
Yes, it was very interesting.
Interesting. And you have mentioned that your favorite character is the Cheshire Cat. And what is so special about it? Why did you like him best?
I think he's very cute and sometimes funny and mysterious character.
What do you mean by mysterious? The whole book is mysterious. Is he or it just the usual cat? You are right, he is mysterious, but
a big smile. Yes,
right?
a smile.
Yes, it is very special smile. Hmm?
Yes.
And you have taken the retelling of the book. Have you ever read it maybe in Russian, the full original version, I mean?
Yes, when I was a child.
Mm-hmm. And did you maybe see some film adaptations or cartoons?
Yes, I saw a cartoon and a film.
Did you like it?
Yes, it was interesting.
Was it close to the plot, close to the book?
I think not at all. There was some characters in the book that I didn't see in film.
Mm-hmm. And what illustrations did you like best?
Oh. Maybe with Nat Hatter.
Did you like the illustrations of the author of Lewis Carroll?
I think no.
No. Mm-hmm. Why?
I find them very very simple, maybe.
I see. Thank you very much. I really like this book and your choice. I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Мария. Спасибо, София. У нас следующий участник. Итак, это у нас команда из средней общеобразовательной школы номер 6 города Балтийск. руководитель Смирнова Ольга Владимировна и состав команды: Калинина Алисия, Петропавловская Анастасия, Юмашева Екатерина. Если команда готова, просим включить демонстрацию экрана и рассказать о своем любимом произведении. Дорогие участники, нужна ли вам какая-либо помощь?
А звука нету, все равно она...
У нас одна проблемка небольшая.
Нет, да блин.
Hello, my name is Alicia. I'm 13 years old. Hello, my name is Katya. I'm 13 years old.
Hello, my name is Nastya. I'm 14 years old.
We are from Baltisk. Our school is number 6. We would like to present you our project, Novel Polyana. Our aim is to investigate the relationship of the novel in the Polyana. And this was written by American writer Eleanor Porter in 1923. This story is about a girl teenager whose parents die, and Aunt Miss Polly adopts her. Polyana is very kind and cute and very friendly. It is difficult to understand for her why adults are very close. They try to be indifferent. Polyana knows game that help people to be thankful to real life, the glad game. She visits sick people and encourages them. At the end of the novel, Mr. Pendleton adopts orphan Jimmy. Accident with Polyana broke ice with Miss Polly and Dr. Chilton. They join to help her, and other people come to visit and support her.
We have pointed problem in this novel. The first problem of the novel is Polyana and adults. They ignored her when she wanted to talk to them. They are afraid of being open.
The second problem, Polyana's life after accident. After the accident, we was in despair. She got very negative, but this time people helped them. She couldn't become it. Her game didn't work. We have made a conclusion that the kindness is the core of human relationship. So if you do good in this world, you get the same feedback. We have made up a crossword according to our project. I liked the novel because of its kindness and touching. I like Polyana's game. We hope you like it. Thank you for attention.
Большое спасибо. Если вы закончили, если презентация ваша завершилась, мы переходим к вопросам. И сейчас Юлия, это представитель образовательной компании «Релот», задаст несколько вопросов.
We are ready.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, thank you, girls, for your presentation. I have never read this book, and I would like to know more about this character, Polyana, this girl. Now, can you tell me about the accident? What accident has happened to her?
She can crash. She crashed.
The crash where her parents had died, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I see. Well, and now, any of you tell me what the main characters you like most and why?
Pollyanna, Miss Polly, Mr. Pendleton, and Dr. Chilton.
Which of them your favorite? You like the most?
My favorite character is Miss Polly. She calm and kind, but inside her nature, she is emphatic.
That's right. Okay, thank you very much. Good luck. Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Спасибо большое, уважаемые участники. Мы переходим к следующей команде. И это у нас Центр детско-юношеского технического творчества и информационных технологий. Город Санкт-Петербург, Пушкинский район. Руководитель Бурин Ирина Валентиновна и участники команды. Блохин Андрей, Лужецкая Алена, Мандрова Дарья, Оснач Александр, Сорокалетова Ярослава. Ждем вас, вашей презентации, вашего выступления.
Hello, dear students of the group Association English French Translation at the Educational Center Pushkin St. Petersburg. I'm Andrew, Alena, Yaroslava, Alexander, and Daria. We decided to study what does Oscar Wilde mean saying does Oscar Wilde saying everything in common with.
The aim of our research, to find out what influenced the author to say everything in common, but, and what are the differences between British and American cultures.
Our approach, we have studied, first, Oscar Wilde in America, how his words influenced his book. Second, the elements of Gothic in the Canterville Ghost, which reveals these differences. Third, differences, British and American culture. Oscar Wilde in America, 1882. Wilde's first visit to America for the entire year. Oscar was conducting a lecture tour across the continent. The poet undertook 141 lectures.
The Canterville Ghost is a short Gothic story, the parody of horror stories. Horror and humor are in Wilde's story, and we analyzed the genre mixture.
Setting. The story takes place in the Canterville Castle. It is an ancient house in the English countryside. Main heroes: the ghost, the Otis family, and Virginia. Climax of the story: the ghost asks Virginia to help him to find an eternal rest. He reveals the girl his feelings of solitude and pain.
Gothic and mystery. Elements of Gothic in the Canterville Ghost. The ghost himself, the haunted castle, constantly repairing bloodstain. Gothic elements showed the differences between English old-fashioned society and American optimistic and practical ways of problem solving.
Two nations divided, the conflict between two nations, two cultures, and different ways of living run through all the story. We have chosen several of them, Britain or American. Britain, traditions are very important, America, money the most important. Britain, fear of ghosts, America are not afraid of ghosts. Britain, status by birth, America, status by individual work.
Conclusion. In the Canterville Ghost, Oscar Wilde uses Gothic elements to show the differences between culture. The author makes us laugh, but at the same time, he shows very important feelings and thought about human relationships.
Started as a fun story making fun of the Gothic, The Canterville Ghost became a sad poem of the tortured soul of Sir Simon, and only Virginia's faith and kindness allowed him to get salvation.
The cultures differed greatly, but had a lot in common, as it was in Wilde's story. At the end of the story, Virginia tells about her life lessons.
He made me see what life is and what death signifies, and why love is stronger than both. Thank you for your attention.
Большое спасибо команде. К сожалению, мы не смогли увидеть вашу презентацию. Возможно, какие-то технические сложности. Очень бы хотелось увидеть, но тем не менее мы переходим к вопросам от жюри.
Thank you very much. And I would like to ask you about the main value of American culture as you see it in this text. You have said that money is the most important thing in America. Why? Can you please tell us a little bit more about it?
Thank you for your attention. In history, America, this is very, very big country. In this country can very, very money, and because American people, this is people who has very, very money.
But what stands in the text? What the book really tells us about it?
In the book, the Otis family wanted to buy the Canterville Castle. They wanted to buy the ghost, and
a little bit tradition, maybe. Hmm? Yeah. But if I remember correctly, Mr. Otis had given a band of gypsies permission to camp in the park for free. So I don't see the great value, the great importance of money for this family. Well, what would you say about it? Okay, and there is also an interesting symbol in the very end of the story. Maybe you remember the old almond tree has blossomed. Why did it happen so? I think it's a very important detail in this book. Okay, what did you like most in this story, which is really very funny and very deep?
We was enjoy in this book.
Oh, don't be afraid. I'm interested just in your personal opinion.
Thank you. The book shows very important feelings and thoughts about human relationships. Virginia's kindness help to ghosts, and in the end of the story, the tree was coming. It made the ghost about
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Спасибо команде, вы молодцы, вы справились. Спасибо. И мы переходим к следующей команде. Это гимназия номер 540, город Санкт-Петербург. Руководитель Аникина Юлия Николаевна. Просим команду.
Hello, we are glad to greet everyone on this wonderful event. We are going to present our project on the book Dialogue. First, let us introduce ourselves. We are pupils of St. Petersburg Gymnasium 540, and we study in class 7B.
Vika is the most cheerful member of our group. She's crazy about dancing, like walking, and she is a real bookworm. She is 14 years old.
Alona is my best friend. She is the smartest one. She dances and sings, and also enjoys reading different types of books. She also paints.
Maxim is the only boy in our group, and he is youngest one. He is only 13. He is really prankster, loves to surprise with his friends. He inspires us to be creative and do things together.
We have one thing in common, love of many detective stories. We have chosen book Dialogue because our friend recommended it to us.
On the site we found interesting information about the author, Sarah Koletsky. She wrote a lot of amazing books and even got the Mark Twain Award.
The blog is one of her most popular books. We were hooked by this work and the problem raised by the author, and we opened it on this slide.
The main character, Vika, has to investigate an awful crime, an murder.
Thanks to her brain and logic, the crime is solved. We prepared questions to test us and our friends. You can also check yourself after reading the book.
The book is one of the most interesting detective books that we ever made. We advise it to everyone.
And we are ready to answer your questions. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, I'm ready too. So, my question will be to girls. You mentioned in your presentation that you are keen on reading detective stories, okay? Well, tell me why. Why do you like reading detective stories?
Because one of my favorite books that wrote in the detective type is Sherlock Holmes, and when I found to read something, I found this book.
Okay. Are you going to be detective in the future?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Good job.
Спасибо большое нашим командам. Просим выключить, чтобы следующая команда могла подготовиться. Уважаемые участники, спасибо. У нас на данном этапе все команды выступили, и теперь мы переходим к индивидуальным участникам. И сейчас у нас выступит, наверное, представитель самого дальнего региона из Республики Казахстан. Это Бекнур Радбек из Назарбаевской интеллектуальной школы физико-математического направления, город Тарас. Просим вас подключиться.
О.
Да, вас видно. Просим включить демонстрацию экрана для презентации.
Right. Видно? Видно? Can you see it? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Beknur. I'm from Kazakhstan, from city Taras, to be accurate. It's this southern region of the country, and I am 15 years old. Currently, I'm in 9th grade, and that's my school. I am a big fan of playing music, just enjoy reading pretty much. Well, the wonderful book that I'm presenting you today, called June by Frank Herbert. The novel was originally written in 1964 and first published in 1965 in genre of sci-fi with a few elements of fantasy. The book begins with two rival clans, Atreides and Harkonnens. The whole storyline of the book revolves around the main character. He is Paul Atreides. Paul is a crown prince of Dunes and the son of the Duke Atreides, Leto Atreides. The story itself starts when Paul's family move into their new kingdom, the desert planet Dune. And while settling down in their new palace, the Duke Atreides gets brutally assassinated by the spy, which is sent by the Baron Vladimir. The Baron Vladimir has his nephew, Fade Oroda. Basically, that's how the whole story begins. What makes those, in my opinion, what makes those characters unique is their motives. Every character had their own unique motive, reasonable motive. Even the main antagonist, Baron Vladimir, might seem just another ugly, evil, bad guy. But the book tells us story much complicated than good versus bad. The other thing that really surprised me, that even though book itself was written around 70 years ago, it tells the very actual for modern days problem. The main location of the book is the planet Dune. Dune has been severely damaged by drilling the ground in search of so-called spice. The spice is a natural, valuable natural resource which the planet Dune is full of. And in book we can read how the planet and the creatures and the people on that planet are being victims of the endless wars for in search of resources and severe climate change. Even without knowing context very pretty much, you can clearly make some parallels with our real world, where instead of spice we have oil, where instead of spice we have oil, and instead of planet Dune we have Syria or Iraq, and where people fight because of their religious grounds as well as in Dunes. And the author himself repeatedly admitted that current ecological and political state of our planet deeply concerns him. I found it the most unique part of the novel is that the idea that if we repeat the same mistakes that once has been made by those rival clans, we can as well lose our planet for good. Well, there is definitely some pros and cons that I pointed out. As I mentioned, the main pros is that the book has immersive story. that can immerse you into itself, and you can. I personally finished the book in around 3 days, even though it is like 700 plus pages. But the one cones that I've personally found really hard for me is difficult Dune words. Yeah. I cannot recommend this book more. The book, it's not a regular sci-fi that we all get used to read. I think it explores deeper purpose of human beings on our planet, and while telling interesting story. Besides from the eco problems, book tells a story of lovers, a story of enemies, a story of friends. The book is definitely worth your time. Thank you for your attention, and the floor is open for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Beknur, for your presentation. I really liked it. And I would like to ask you about the different way of thinking. You have said that this kind of literature, non-fiction literature, makes you think different about war, about pollution, maybe.
Yeah, well, you asked me to tell more about that?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your question. Yes. By that, by saying it makes me think in different ways, I think the main advantage of reading a non-fictional book is that non-fiction gives you pretty much tells you a story from different perspective. From, for instance, if we are reading about ecological problem, the book tells us non-fictional books tells us story from the perspective of people who impacts upon that ecological problem, and why there is a certain impact and their motivation, and how we can stop that problem. I think that's the main value of non-fictional books.
Maybe it's the secret of the popularity of this book. And have you seen film adaptations? The most.
Well, actually, I haven't seen one, but I've heard that they are releasing new film adaptation in I think 2022 or 2021. It will be released in a couple of years, but I have not seen.
If I'm not mistaken, there is a popular film of David Lynch. When you showed us the images of characters, the pictures of characters, what pictures did you use?
Well, in that presentation, I used the characters of the upcoming movie, Dunes. It will be released in a couple of years, as I said.
Yeah. I see. And have you ever played computer games based on the book?
Well, I have thought about downloading one, but I mean, I'm not really interested in computer games, but that would be really cool if I would find the one that has really good quality. I just did not find one.
Are you still continuing reading non-fiction?
Yeah.
What other books do you like?
Well, the very recent one was A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
I see.
I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for your answers. Good luck.
Большое спасибо за прекрасное выступление. Мы переходим к следующему участнику. Это Воронцова Злата, студия английского языка Smart Cookie, город Самара, и руководитель Ермоленко Анастасия Андреевна. Злата, очень ждем вашего выступления. Просим также подключить демонстрацию экрана и звук и видео. Что у нас нету Златы? Давайте тогда к следующему участнику перейдем. Генш Анелия. Общеобразовательная автономная некоммерческая организация «Планета успеха», город Москва. Руководитель Крылова Мария Дмитриевна. Анелия, просим вас включить презентацию и звук.
So I'm going to tell about Drake or Bookworms Stoker. My name is Angelia. I'm 14 years old. I'm in 7th form. My hobby is singing. I often take part in school concerts. I also enjoy reading and doing magical arts. As for books, my favorite ones are detective stories and mystical stories. My family and I once traveled around Romania and visited many historical and beautiful places. Everyone associates Romania with the most famous vampire, Count Dracula, and all tourists, of course, want to visit the Bram Castle when he lived. Of course, we also went to see this famous place. The castle is located in the mountains. It looks very impressive. However, it turned out that Dracula is not a real person, but a book character of the writer Bram Stoker. The castle is real, but Dracula never lived here. Just after the publication of the book about Dracula, the writer's funds rushed to Romania and the government of the country found a suitable castle, which fit the description from the book. This is my photos with my family. This is my brother, my sister, my mother, and me. At the turn of the century, an Irish-born novelist Bram Stoker wrote a book that became popular only after his death and immortalized the image that became one of the most popular in the 19th century culture, Dracula. Most scientists believe that Bram Stoker derived the image of his evil Count Dracula from a real 15th century prince, Vlad Dracula. He was a terrible person and a cruel ruler. Dracula by Bram Stoker was first published in 1996. It's a horror novel which consists of 3 stories from the diary of Jonathan Harker. This gripping adventure fantasy novel retells us about a realistic person, Count Dracula, who moves from the castle in Transylvania. From the first lines of the book, the reader is immersed to the atmosphere of magic and mystery. The main characters are Jonathan Harker, his wife Mina, and her friend Lucy, who find themselves surrounded by danger and mysterious actions. They combat Dracula, the vampires, and the evil forces. Lucy and Mina have to choose between their feelings for Jonathan, Asher, and the eternity with Count Dracula. They sacrifice the human existence in order to be undead. The plot of this book keeps reading and suspensive to the end. It is full of thrilling moments and dark tension. The author creates the drama till the end. In the book, you can find a description of terrifying signs that are described by author very realistically. But in addition to the nightmare that came true, a thoughtful reader will raise many philosophical questions. For example, does a person need eternal life? Does an eternal life make a person happy? Or will he make suffer forever? What should a person do and how to behave when you're faced with something unknown and unexplained? I recommend Dracula. It's worth reading. If you like romance, excitement, and horror, you enjoy it. It will not disappoint you.
Спасибо, Злата. И мы переходим к вопросам от жюри.
Thank you, Anelia. I really was surprised by your choice. Do you really like horror books?
Can you repeat, please?
I just wondered if you really enjoy horror books.
I like horror books.
Have you read much of them?
Yes.
Can you name one more, maybe? Can you name just another book in this genre, horror book? Okay. Why do you think this character, Count Dracula, is so extremely popular all over the world?
Yes. He is very popular.
Mm-hmm. He is, but why? Okay, another question. What do you think? Does an eternal life make a person happy or unhappy?
It will make person unhappy.
Why?
Because it's boring.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers.
Большое спасибо, Анелия, спасибо, Мария. И я вижу, что у нас подключилась Воронцова Злата, поэтому, Злата, просим вас подключить демонстрацию экрана и ждем вашего выступления.
Хорошо, сейчас. Угу. Видно? Видно?
Да, видно.
Ага, хорошо. Так. Hello, I'm Zlata and I'm in class 8. My hobbies include reading, watching videos on YouTube, traveling, and playing sport. My dream is living and studying abroad. This competition is a way to combine my two passions, English language and reading. I want to tell you about Jane Austen's novel, Emma. There are some facts about it. This novel is the fourth of 6 published novels by Jane Austen. The writer wanted to create a character that no one would like, but it turned out that readers liked Emma. It's believed that for the novel Emma, Jane received a fee of £575. I fell in love with the book and I recommended it to all my friends. The main idea of Emma is love misunderstandings. Emma often makes mistakes matchmaking her familiarities. I think that the book is extremely up to date because Jane Austen writes about common topics in the modern society. This novel is a perfect story about real love. Jane Austen's heroes are not perfect. They have realistic characters, and I like that. When I read this book, I wanted to be one of the heroes, to dance at the bells and wear long dresses. The author has described the atmosphere of her time perfectly. That's all I want to tell you. Thanks for your attention.
Большое спасибо, Злата, и мы ждем вопросов от Юлии.
Oh, thank you, Zlata, for your presentation. Very matured. Well, and my question is, so you've said that we could recognize ourselves in Jane Austen's characters. And in which character from this book do you recognize yourself and why?
I recognize myself in Emma because I love matchmaking. My friends and my classmates too. It's one of my favorite activities, and I always making mistakes too with it, and it's a kind of problem. And Emma has a character. And her character is similar with mine, I think.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Zlata. Your English is very good.
Thank you.
Большое спасибо, Злата и Юлия. Мы переходим к следующему участнику, точнее участнице. Красноперова Валерия, средняя общеобразовательная школа номер 93, город Ижевск, руководитель Кольцова Ангелина Николаевна. Валерия, ждем ваше выступление.
So, good evening. Меня слышно?
Да, слышно.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Valeria Krasnoperova. I'm 16 years old. School number 93, Ижевск. I would like to tell you about book The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. At first, I would like to tell you a little about author. Oscar Wilde had an erudite way with words and is often quoted to this day. He was known as a sharp wit, delivering lines that cut through conversation, making him at once popular and vilified. Oscar Wilde was born into a privileged Dublin family. He had a fairly uneventful childhood, but performed very well at university, studying at Magdalen College, Oxford. It was as a student that he began to use his heightened intellect to put others down, and as a result, many of his friends took a dislike to him. I'm absolutely sure that Oscar Wilde is a talented writer. Because he took on a very difficult task, to convey to the reader what it means to destroy the soul, how it happens, and he did it. Here you can see some brief information about the main characters and their personalities. About Dorian Gray, beautiful on the outside but rotten on the inside. Basil Hallward, native, noticed only positive qualities. Lord Henry, an aristocrat. The main value in life is pleasure. Let's take a closer look. Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray is the main character in the novel. Dorian Gray is a naive and beautiful young man who turned into an insensitive egoist under the influence of Lord Henry. From the beginning, is it clear that he is essential but cowardly self-lover, because the only thing he cares about is the thought of losing his own beauty. In Dorian Gray, the everyday and the light, the dark and the mystical are interviewed. Next, Basil Hallward. Basil Hallward, painter. friend of Dorian Gray and Lord Henry. He painted the fatal picture. He tried to fight the immorality of Henry and Dorian, but no one listened to him. Basil had paid for his kidneys with death. Lord Henry. Lord Henry is a rich and refined nobleman, well received in high society. His witty remarks and worldview appeal to the people around him. However, he himself never follows his bold thoughts. Lord Henry can safely be called an antagonist hero. Lord Henry's character is a lie and a sham. The role of the painting. In my opinion, the central role in the book is occupied by the picture. The most obvious message is that there is always a price to be paid for unfair and heartless behavior. Wilde creates a world where art and reality collide. A general impression. The novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, is an instructive story, as Oscar Wilde is a really genius writer who could make such an unforgettable plot. Reading between the lines, we see that inner and outer beauty are different things. The beauty of the soul is the soul a person has. And what happened to Dorian Gray? What killed him? Art? No, of course not. The picture was a reflection of Dorian Gray's soul. He killed himself with his mediocre life. To sum it up, the novel contains a lot of philosophical thoughts, ideas, and values, which help me make my own associations and conclusions about beauty and art of the soul. I'm absolutely sure that The Picture of Dorian Gray is an instructive story that I will remember for a long time. Highly recommend it for reading. Thank you. That's all.
Спасибо. Спасибо, Валерия. И у нас тоже есть вопросы для вас.
Okay, thank you, Lera. And you've said that The Picture of Dorian Gray is an instructive novel.
Yes.
Tell me please, what instruction are you going to remember the rest of your life? I mean, what lessons have you learned from this book? And what are they?
I learned that the inner beauty and outer beauty are different things, and that you always have to pay for your
Selfishness, maybe?
Yes, and of course, people always people have to be kind and don't do such bad things as Dorian Gray.
And what about you?
My opinion?
No. What lesson have you learned from this book? What would you like to be in the future, personally you?
I want to be...
As not to make Dorian Gray's mistakes.
Will you repeat, please?
Okay. So Dorian Gray was an awful man, yeah, and he was selfish and self-conscious, and I ask you, what would you like in the future life? What traits you like in yourself, like kindness, honesty, or what? So what?
I like that in myself that I always that I always try to help my friends, and I always try to understand all his troubles, and I guess I a good friend, and
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Good job. Yeah, that's all.
Thanks.
Большое спасибо, Валерий, за выступление, за вашу презентацию и ответы на вопросы. Следующая участница Мельникова Елизавета, средняя общеобразовательная школа номер 324, город Санкт-Петербург, руководитель Ермоленко Екатерина Евгеньевна.
Здравствуйте. Okay, let's start. Do you hear me? Today I want to present my competition work for the contest Bookworms. My name is Елизавета. I'm in the 8th grade. I'm 14 and I'm from St. Petersburg. I have decided to write about a book called The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. It's an adventure story by Mark Twain. I've chosen it because I had read The Adventures of Tom Sawyer earlier, and I was interested to read a continuation. I like this book because it is exciting and gripping. Also, I enjoy this story because I am similar to the main character, because I also like freedom, nature, and I hate being anybody's slave in any way. This book tells us about Huckleberry Finn and his adventures. Huckleberry Finn was a young street boy who explored things outside his family. There were two moments in the story when Huck escaped from becoming a slave. His first escape was from his drinking father, who was against Huck's studying and wanted to take all his money. We can say that one of the main problems is greed for money, when people are ready to do anything to get money. And the second escape happened when two bad people wanted to make slaves out of Huckleberry Finn and his friend Jim. Within the example of friendship, the author showed us that everybody needs good friend and support in every situation. Now I want to speak about main and minor characters and their actions. Huckleberry Finn is the main character of the book. He is kind, cheerful, cunning, and quick-witted boy who is used to living in freedom. Huck is not afraid of difficult and obstacles. I like that when Jim got into trouble, Huck didn't leave him, but came up with a plan and saved him. Jim is Miss Watson's slave. He is a slave who ran away from Miss Watson because she wanted to sell him. He is scary but kind and caring. This is nothing cruel about his futures. Bob is Huck's father. He is one of the minor characters in this story. This person was greedy, rude, and angry. I didn't like it when his father came into his son's room and started scolding him about Huck going to school. Also, I didn't like when Huck's Pop took his son and kept him forcibly in the house. Widow Douglas and Miss Watson are sisters whom Huck lived with. They were teaching him manners and giving general education. I like Widow Douglas because she took care of a hermit when he had nowhere else to go. Duke and the King are regular greedy, arrogant, and cunning people who decided to profit from the helplessness of Jim and Huck taking possession of their raft. This book is very important for me. I like this book. So I looked up some facts about this book. And I have found out that Mark Twain was writing this book, Huckleberry Finn, for 7 years. Also, Mark Twain's childhood friend was a prototype of Huckleberry Finn. And the last fact is very important for me. When I have found out this fact, I have known that like Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain changed his mind about slavery. Also, the author was an opponent of racism and slavery, and he directly declares it through the lips of his character on the page of the novel. All these problems, except for slavery, are still relevant to this day, but many people aren't giving enough attention to them. So I think this book is very important. The book, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, is very interesting. It is easy to read. There are many different situations in it that you can laugh or think about. When I read this book, I was disgusted to look at Huck's drunken father, but many admiration for Huck's courage, willpower, and unity of Huck and Jim outweighed that feeling. I was interested in watching the plot unfold, and it felt like I was living all the moment myself. I recommend this book for teenagers and adults to read because it has a deep meaning and children will not understand it. So thank you for your attention. That's all.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your presentation and your choice. This book was one of my favorites when I was a child. And I'd like to ask you what hero and what book did you like best, Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn?
I like the book The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn more than the book Tom Sawyer.
Oh, and why?
Because I think that in the book The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, we can think about more things, maybe about slavery, about greed for money. I think that the book The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is maybe for children, and the book about Huckleberry Finn is for it's not easy for children. Yeah, so it was easy for me, and maybe it will be easy to read for older person. Yeah.
It's much more serious, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what did you like best about the book? I really liked your drawing of the root. It's a pity you didn't show it now, but I saw it. So what did you like best about the adventures of Huck Finn? Not about the problems which are discussed, but just about adventures. Which episode?
Yeah, I like adventures at all. So I like Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. They are very exciting, and they were not easy. So it was more interesting for me, and I think for Huckleberry Finn. Yeah. I like the adventures because here we can saw the real face of characters. We can see that Huckleberry Finn is very kind, that he's yeah, he is cheerful in this service. We can see that he is very cheerful and cunning.
And brave.
Yeah, brave, strong. It's also important for Huckleberry Finn.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.
Большое спасибо, Елизавета. И у нас завершающее выступление Уфимцева Дарья, средняя общеобразовательная школа номер 10, ассоциированная школа ЮНЕСКО, город Калининград, руководитель Старченко Марина Владленовна.
Can you see me?
Да, все слышно и видно.
Okay. So happy to greet you, dear jury and participants. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Darya Ufintseva and I'm 14 years old. I'm the 8th grade student from Kaliningrad. So today, in the framework of the final of our contest Bookworms, I would like to present to your attention my work on the topic The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by the Francis Fitzgerald. By the way, you can see the printed edition of the book itself. So yeah, all right. Yeah, this is me, and this is my teacher. And in my defense, I would like to start again with the following quotes, which in my opinion best reflect the artistic intent of this literary work. Please wait a second. It's downloading. I'm sorry, I have some troubles with presentation.
Дарья, вы продолжаете презентацию попозже тогда.
Okay.
Дарья, скажите, вы тут? Может быть, вы нам расскажете пока без презентации, чтобы нам сильно не задерживаться?
I'm extremely sorry, but without my presentation, I can't say, I can tell about the main characters and etc. So, yeah. But we'll make it out. So. Okay. I hope it's gonna be fine.
Дарья, презентацию мы видим. Скажите, как у вас там дела обстоят? Все.
Yeah, you can see only a part of presentation. That's the problem. I don't know why. Maybe there are some problems with the internet connection and etc.
Предлагаю вам продолжить. В любом случае, жюри видели презентацию, поэтому, может быть, вы нам расскажете вот то, что вы подготовили. Презентацию в любом случае, потом в любом случае посмотрим. Давайте продолжим тогда. Вы расскажете просто то, что вы подготовили, и вопросы.
Okay, yeah, everything is fine. On the following slides, you can see some covers of another books of the Francis Scott Fitzgerald, by the Francis Scott Fitzgerald. For example, Stranger is the Night, The Ice Palace, and of course, The Great Gatsby. And I suppose a lot of people didn't read The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So now I'm going to tell you about the story in general. So the actual issue is the main point of the work is the fact that it shows the reverse process of a person's life as a reminder to everyone that time is not eternal. And after reading, I got my head around an essential topic like time and why we all should appreciate every moment of our lives. Benjamin's life clearly shows ourselves, but in an unusual way. Most people see an old age as something ugly and nasty, and here Francis Scott let us know that it's not exactly like that. When young soul is still in a standing body, nobody understands Benjamin. And the second problem of misunderstanding it, how it comes to appearance, touched me the most. I know that we all look at the appearance and we cannot pay attention to that, but even though somebody doesn't look as we're used to, it doesn't mean that we don't have to listen and try to understand this person who looks different. Yeah, so I think the author covers a variety of different and important issues which are absolutely going to touch and interest you. So I told you about the main idea in general, but let's analyze the story in more detail. For example, the style of Benjamin Button. The style is so unique and amusing. There are loads of types of metaphors and other stylistic techniques. So let's look at the examples of metaphors, taking into account the rules of speech. The first one is, and what if I said I was not getting old and the young are like all the others? Well, I would have felt sorry for you. After all, you will see how your favorite died before you. This is a terrible responsibility. The second one, none of us may ever be perfect. And the last one is the last metaphor to reflect on. You know, I don't like birthdays and I don't like cake. And Jeff was a frequent visitor here. People came and went. You always knew when someone left us. These days, the house was quiet. It was a wonderful place to grow older. The quotes are amazing due to their meaning. For some people, it seems like something too difficult, complicated, and deep. But try to look for topics like time, death, just usual lifestyle, and life in general. We can see the parallels between time and our lives, and Francis Scott Fitzgerald's opinion. So, to be honest, I didn't focus on characters in my previous presentation, but I want to do it now. So, to share my opinion, to share my impressions. So, the main characters are Benjamin Button, Hildegard, Roger Button, Mr. Moncrief, Dr. King, and Mr. Hyde. Characters I like and Dwight. The character I empathize with the protagonist Benjamin Button. Even though he has a really difficult fate, I like watching his emotional, mental, and physical growth at each age. Obviously, Francis Scott Fitzgerald didn't show us the whole potential of each character's personality because he might have left us something to think about. But I would like to hear to think as I write down about my favorite one. I'm into topic of growth, our personality, and us in general as people. So for me, it was really interesting to figure out the theme in the context of this story. At the beginning of the story, Benjamin Button was quite mature for his age. He was not accepted in the Yale College, but later he got a job and degree. When all left, he promised to go to Harvard. And you know, he went. He was ambitious and confident. Due to his growth, he became different and certainly logical. Each year, he was getting much younger. He could not help it, but his wife Hildegard was fed up with his young, so nobody felt happy about this situation. But Benjamin tried to not give up. He found loads of new interests so he can keep himself busy. He graduated from university, as I mentioned, and took a rest from his tough work. He demonstrated all the beauty of young age, this enthusiasm and children's spontaneity. And Benjamin died when he was as young as a baby. Also, the characters I like are Benjamin's dad, Mr. Roger Button, and his son Roscoe. Maybe they didn't love Benjamin as usual people love their family, but they cared about the main character. They tried to do the best for him. Yeah, and characters I don't like and why. I actually do not have an unpleasant experience owing to any characters. I can understand everybody in this instead of people who blame and vote Benjamin Button. It is an extraordinary situation, so I tried to imagine how I would behave. So, but we don't know it exactly. Yeah. And I immediately must say that I am really worried about the hero throughout the book. I was really worried, and it was difficult to watch his life. Maybe it would be normal if the lives of others took place as well, but Benjamin was alone in the world. He didn't understand what was happening and how to live. The most enjoyable moment of this, of course, was the love of his young. Not on book, I have not caused so many emotions and experiences. Well, to sum up, I would like to say that for better understanding and right intention conception, we should immerse ourselves in meaning of metaphors, symbol images. The language and style are so aphoristic. There are abstract ideas which are available for tactile sensation. Yeah, and a wonderful feature of the story is an emotional impacting reader, which is reached by an enormous amount of various means. So, thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
Thank you, Daria. It's a very good presentation. Full of examples and pictures and a good English, of course. So, Tell me this. So you said that the case of Benjamin Button was a touching and terrible story. But can you name the happiest moments of his life, and why was he happy? You may name only one.
Oh, okay. I think the happiest moments in his life when he graduated from the university, because he went to the Harvard. He promised to go, so it was for him, I think, the happiest moment. Also, when he was studying, he played at a football team, at the college football team. So I think he felt happy about this. And also, as I mentioned, it's of course love, because it was a great relationship. Yeah, in a film and in the book. So yeah, I was really impressed.
Thank you. Do you feel sorry for Benjamin Button, or he deserves respect, your respect, all his life?
I think mostly no, because even though he wasn't respected by other people as I wanted, because of his special look, because of his age, I think the most important thing is that he was happy, and I don't feel sorry. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good job.
Большое спасибо, Дарья. И это был у нас последний участник нашего финального тура. Хотелось бы поблагодарить всех выступающих, всех руководителей, всех, кто сегодня выступал с презентациями, кто отвечал на вопросы и достойно сражался за победу. Уважаемые члены жюри, мы также вас благодарим за то, что вы уделили время, за то, что подготовились, оценили презентации. И, как я уже говорила в начале, мы подведем итоги завтра. То есть мы суммируем все баллы. У каждого из вас были баллы за заочный тур, и теперь у вас есть баллы также за финальный тур. Мы их суммируем и выберем победителей. Безусловно, все участники получат сертификаты, даже если вы не займете призовые места, у вас будут грамоты, у руководителей будут благодарственные письма и, конечно же, подарки. Мы благодарим всех, кто сегодня присутствовал. Ожидайте результатов завтра. Они будут на нашем сайте, и мы обязательно всех проинформируем об итогах. Желаем вам прекрасного вечера, замечательных путешествий, прекрасных литературных произведений, совершенствования вашего иностранного языка. Всего вам самого лучшего и до новых встреч!